everybody, in this video we're going to be talking about the latest tier list as of February 21st. What's everybody playing, what they're winning with. Let's jump into WolverSNAP-LETS.com. They always got a nice update here. Again, caveat to this is depends who's logged into this, track this, so it could be a little off, but I do like generally what we see here. So this is the week of February 21st. We've got a number of tiers here. High level, if you want it real quick, you can check out on the screen. Obviously, sometimes the names, you might not know what those are. We'll jump into that, but you see some Lockjaw Thanos. I think a lot of that had to do, and they mentioned it here, is a Quantum Tunnel. Zabu, Darkhawk, Shuri Zero, Thanos, Ongoing Zoo, Lockjaw Thor, Galactus, Deathwave, Discard Dracula's down in tier 3. It's a lot of the stuff that I see at my level. I'm just below that 1,000 collection level. I'm between 900 and 1,000. See a lot of that. I'm starting to see some Galactus and Deathwaves. Cerebros, obviously. Hella Discard down at tier 4. She's in my store right now, and I was debating getting her, but I'm missing some other discards, and I know there can be a lot of RNG to that one, so I decided to probably hold off on that. But I did buy Shuri from the store yesterday. It's my first token store purchase, and I think and hope it doesn't mean that she's going to immediately be nerfed. I don't think she should, frankly. Like, what are they going to do? Change the card completely? That gets into a hole. I know they say no refunds or anything like that. But man, that feels bad, doesn't it? Just buying a card from the token shop and getting it nerfed. Ugh. Painful, painful. Anyway, they got some silent performers of the week. If there aren't enough data points on those, they have it. So let's look at the first one here, Lockjaw Thanos. So this one, again, they've got the Quinjet in here to help reduce the price of any cards that come from outside of your deck. Again, for this one, cards that didn't start in your deck cost one less. So it's really it's all about those Infinity Stones. You'll get those. Lockjaw, just cycle through it, and you've got a number of other powerful cards in here that you can just really mess with people. This is a great deck. I'm missing Thanos, Quinjet, She-Hulk. Otherwise, you know, I would love to run this deck. I think it's really good. Probably a little bit more powerful during the Quantum Tunnel, but solid regardless. Next up, we've got Zabu, Darkhawk. Again, Quinjet. This Quinjet, you know, it's flexible. We're doing our tier list, which, by the way, we're working on. I'll get something out there for you for that. Quinjet, again, shows up. We've got Zabu to help reduce the cost of a number of 4-cost cards here. You're filling up your opponent's deck with stuff like Rock Slide and Korg. Always a White Queen's nice. Devil Dinosaur to keep some points high up on the board for yourself. Mystique to copy both Darkhawk and Devil Dinosaur. We've talked about them before. Moon Girl to double up. Agent Coulson to feed cards. There's a lot of flexibility in this deck. I personally like this deck a lot. Again, I'm missing Coulson, Quinjet, and Darkhawk for this one. Darkhawk I'd love to try to get and build some decks around. Shuri Zero. So you've got the Sauron Zero effect, like we mentioned last time on this, to keep some of the ongoing effects of the Typhoid Marys, the Red Skulls, the Ebony Maws, the Lizards, the Titanias, all of those so that they stay sort of put, they don't restrict you. And you've got a couple high-level cards here of Red Skull, Typhoid Mary, She-Hulk, Taskmaster to copy them, and Arnim Zola. I really like this deck a lot. I'm personally missing Zero, Titania, Sauron, Typhoid Mary, Taskmaster, Red Skull, Zola, and She-Hulk. So this is like a pipe dream for me, but I do enjoy this deck a bit. Thanos Ongoing Zoo. Again, Quinjet makes an appearance. You've got a number of cards here to help build up points all over to lock down lanes with Professor X, Cosmo to restrict anybody from revealing. Number of Ongoing, Khazar to help bring up those 1 points. Thanos to put those stones out there. I mean, this is just a solid deck in general. You got an armor out there to prevent them from destroying any of your cards. Again, I'm missing a lot from this one as well. Well, maybe not as much as I thought. Quinjet and Thanos are really all I'm missing on this one. Lockjaw on reveal on the other screen. This is called Lockjaw Thor. Again, Lockjaw, you get the idea to drop some low-cost cards. You pull up the high ones. You got the Thor Jane Foster combo to bring in Mjolnir to me, and then get that Thor up a little bit. Dracula, again, no discards are in this, right? We were talking about this the other day. Dracula can be in a lot of different decks and do really well. So you've got a number of high cards in this, and if they're not pulled in, this is great. I mean, you've got Wasp, Sunspot, Nightcrawler, all low cost. You've got a Mjolnir to also be a low cost. Jubilee to pull stuff in. Jane Foster to make sure you get it. And then high cards that are probably going to be just sitting in your deck for Dracula to discard. Again, for me, I'm missing Thor, Dracula, Jane Foster, She-Hulk, but I like the idea of playing Lockjaw decks. I want to definitely start building some of these once I get the cards. And then Galactus. Galactus was one of the cards that I had to pass up in my shop. One, because I only had 4K tokens. Two, because I'm missing almost all of these cards. I don't have Electro, Wave, Wong, Doc Ock, Galactus, or Death. But this is a standard kind of Galactus play where you've got Doc Ock in there. You've got some Hobgoblins to mess with the certain location that you want to drop Galactus on potentially. A lot of flexibility here. Death to lay down if you can get the Electro played right, the Wave played right, and Galactus in it all early. And this is just a generally good Galactus deck. It's not a lot of difficult cards to get here, you know, outside of Galactus, but I think this is the one that you typically see. I can't wait, like I said, the number of cards I get. I'm very much looking forward to playing this. We're still in tier 2. We've got Death Wave up next. This is the last tier 2. And then again, you've got your Wave, you've got Death, you've got your She-Hulk, arrows thrown in here to help move things around. You've got some Destroy to help bring that Death down. You'll see your Hood, your Squirrelgore, your Yondu, all that sort of thing. Killmonger. This is the typical deck you see for this. So this is still out there making waves. All right, I won't do that again. Maybe. Actually, you know what? I definitely will. Don't believe me. This deck's still out there. It's still playing well. I'm not going to jump into this too much. I think most of you guys probably know what's going on with that. The two we've got in tier 3, discard Dracula. This is, I'd say, your semi-normal discard deck. It doesn't have your Blade. What else doesn't have it? There is a Hell Cow. There's no Gambit in here, which I personally sort of like playing. It's not a lot of power return, but man, when that thing RNG's right, you've got your Dracula, your Morbius. This is, again, pretty common for stuff like this. No Hela in this one, so it's why it's more of a discard Dracula. I personally really like this type of deck playing it. I think it's just really fun. So this one's called Negative Zabu on the other screen. Negative Surfer here. We went over this last week as well. I'm seeing a lot in Mr. Negatives myself. You really like pulling those in. You've got the low power, higher energy cost card. So no matter what's in your deck, it all flips decently for you. I think this is all really good. Brood to fill up lanes. I mentioned in that tier video that I did with Jeff Hoogland, or that I reacted to Jeff Hooglandia's about Brood after the fact, because I've not used Brood much. I didn't know how versatile it was, but I'm being told that there is a lot of versatility within Brood. So I'm looking forward to exploring that once I get the card. Again, I'm missing Bass, Psylocke, Brood, Surfer, and Wong in this one, but this is a standard negative type package, if you will. And then the only two they've got in tier 4, they've got Cerebro 2 in here, which again, where's your Cerebro? So you've got your Cerebro, that's going to give your highest power cards +2, and then you've got a bunch of +2s in there outside of Luke Cage. So I've mentioned this in some other videos. I absolutely love Luke Cage and Hazmat together. I just think it's a super fun troll thing to do. I'd love to pair it up with Karmatage, with Wong. If there was a way for me to drop Wong in this as well, oh man, I would have so much fun with that. And given Wong's a 2, you know, as I look at this, I might want to try to find a way. I'd probably personally take out M'Baku out of this and drop in a Wong instead to try to get some multiple on reveals on this. You know, I'd even consider saving some of my Iceman for stuff like that, so you can get, you know, multiple hits on it. You know, you Wong, you Iceman, you Hazmat on that same spot. Yummy, yummy, yummy in my tummy. Or Wong, Mystique, and then Iceman, Hazmat. I don't know. I'm getting kind of crazy on this, but I'd look at playing it a little bit that way, so I'd probably change that deck up a little bit. And the last one in tier 4 is that Hela discard I was mentioning earlier. This is played a lot with Invisible Woman, so that way you can sort of make sure to hide your MODOK until you can play your Hela. The one bad thing about this is a lot of people know once you throw that Invisible Woman down, and if you throw something down on turn 5, they pretty much know it's a MODOK. So you might want to start thinking about having a backup deck. Not that people play you over and over and over, but have something that's sort of similar but different here. So that way you can still sort of play around or make them think you're going to do a Hela. They throw a Cosmo down or throw a Juggernaut in that lane. That's some stuff that I've done before and move some things around a little bit. Now, the Juggernaut doesn't do as well as Cosmo, but that's the one restriction on this that really, I mean, obviously when you do MODOK, it destroys Hela. So it's kind of like, which honestly, I'm glad it's sort of like that, because if without that, it would make it too powerful. Could you imagine? Holy cow. And then they've got some budget ones in here. The hand size destroy. We won't spend a lot of times on this, but you've got some smaller cards here to destroy. You've got your Moon Girl, your Devil Dinosaur. Ongoing, which, you know, it's basically you just load up your ongoing cards, double them up with the onslaught type situation. You got your Spectrum to give us some additional points, Cosmo to help do any counters. One of them I do want to mention, Sandman Kazoo. So I've been talking on the Discord, link in the description below, by the way, if you want to come by and chat. Sandman, I think, is an underrated card. I do think that you can really restrict your opponents with it. I like it. This is a Sandman ongoing deck, which it's okay. I mean, I think it's fun. You play some cards early. You've got your Khazar. You know, there's not a lot of stuff that can be played, and you get points all over the place between your Khazar, Blue Marvel, and or Spectrum. So obviously, once you lay Sandman, you can only get a couple of these final cards out. So you got to be smart about when you play them. But I love this deck. It's pretty. I think Sandman's fun. And if you look at all these cards, these aren't very difficult cards to get. It's a budget deck, obviously, like they mentioned. And then they've got their control deck in here, which again is a pretty fairly easy deck to get. One of the earlier ones you see. Vision, I think, is very flexible. I personally haven't found great use for him. I like to play a little bit stronger card on turn 5, but he does have some capabilities, especially if you're playing with Storm. You can lock down a lane and then move him there later. You know, I've got some other decks that I play with Storm and Juggernaut and stuff, and you know, sometimes that can be problematic depending on if people have, you know, Magnetos, or if they've got something that can, like a Doom or an Ultron, that throws stuff over there. Vision does help counter that. Last thing I want to mention here is there's some talk about Nerf and Arrow. It's on the watch list. I'd love to hear from you guys what you think about how you would nerf Arrow. I mean, for me personally, obviously I drew her really early. She's one of the more stronger cards in the game. How would you change this card to make it less powerful, but also still impactful? Obviously the latest change they had for Leader was not received well. It's the cards falling off the map. I think the other two with Zabu and Silver Surfer did hit the mark. So a decent success rate there. I'm a little worried about Arrow selfishly. It's one of the key cards I have to climb with, so I'm really hoping they don't nerf her too bad. So hopefully this video has been helpful for you. If it is, please consider hammering down the like button, sharing with your aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews, grandmas, grandpas, neighbors, all those sort of people. And until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day.